All right, so now it's on to assembly. The outer supports aren't really that difficult. The one thing that makes my life a lot easier is the 90-degree corner clamp. Make sure they're flush and just attach them with your pocket screws.
Okay, so there's the base. Now we need two supports in the middle. To do that, we could take our panels, stick them in like this, try to mark how far over we want to go, and then run the screws, and then at the same point try to keep this panel straight. The way I like to do it is because I have the spacers cut already. Take the spacers, put them right in place, glue them in place, bring this right up to it. Now, when I take the screw, the Kreg screw, and drive it this way, it forces this piece of wood tight up against my spacers. So that way I know that this is the same exact side as this, because all of these I cut at the same exact width. So this space right here is going to be exactly identical to this one. Our middle is going to be about 3 inches bigger, and the reason being is because I wanted like a little wider drawer in the middle, and it made sense for the sizes here. So simply just doing the same thing, gluing and screwing, grabbing out the Kreg screws, and having at it. All right, there's one. Now the bottom, we'll just temporarily put this in because we don't need a spacer across the bottom and the back. That's what the back is doing. So we'll run that in like that, put that in temporarily, and now we can run all of our screws in here.
By simply having that spacer in there, when you run the pocket holes in, it keeps this board parallel to our outside board. Then you just take that temporary spacer and put it in on the front. And yep, that's a nail gun. I sometimes will use a nail gun just to tack it in place until I can run the screws in. Obviously, the right angle clamps are the way to go, but with the TV schedule, you got to get it done quick. Remember, those nails are not going to be seen, so sometimes if you need an extra little hand, I won't judge.
All right, there you go. Those are the two stringers. I'm going to add one down here, and then I do just the same thing on the other side. The one thing to point out is on this side here, I want to, when I attach this stringer, I want to keep it up off the bottom. And the reason being is because if I had a drawer touching the bottom, it would hit it, and we don't want that. So basically, and you could rough it in, we're using a 1x4 for a face frame, so I'm going
roughly 2 5/8 inches off the bottom, and then that'll give me a little wiggle room as far as my style goes, and attaching it to the plywood.
This is one of those times where you can't read off of the plan, meaning that if you made any minor error, or if you didn't go exactly as far as the measurements go, this distance could be slightly off for you. Mine is 27.5, and mine was 27.5 for the other side, so I'm going to be 27.5 again. It's important once you get this done to remeasure and make sure that this fits tightly, because if it's loose, what's going to happen is, imagine if this piece is smaller up here, what will happen is now this piece will go like this, and it's not what you want. You want this completely square. So 27.5 for me, but it might not be for you.
So just run your pocket screws in, and if you need a little help, use the nail gun at an angle. 1.25 inches is the longest nail you want, and if you have a cameraman that has an extra finger, he can pull the trigger for you. What it does simply is just hold the piece there temporarily until you have the chance to come back with the pocket screws and lock it into place forever.
All right, so it's a moment of truth. Now you've got your box. Ugh. Spin it around so you can see it. Now remember, there's two of these, back to back. You've got storage here, here, and here. This is exactly the same. This is a little bit bigger, which is nice. That way they can put more sweaters and stuff like that in here. Now we have to make a face frame for this, but at this point you want to make sure that you're square. Anytime that you have, or you build a box, I should say, you can check for square. Take your tape measure, hook it on the corner, and check your diagonals. Right now, 76 7/8. Remember that, because if I'm off, 76 7/8. You come over here and you see this. Get over here. 76 7/8. And that was before. So now I know that my box is square. So it's going to make, when I build my face frame, It's going to make it easier to install. If your box is all cattywampus at this point, adjust it. Because you've got these, you have a little bit of wiggle room. If you cut all of these 4 pieces on the table saw all at the same time, or all 6 pieces I should say, and then these separate, that's how you ensure that you've got a perfectly square box. I mean, we could have used solid material all here, but it would just been a waste of material. So now you can see drawers here, it's sturdy, it's square, it's everything we need it to be.